Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm and sunny day. It is Friday the 15th of April and it's Good Friday and I have a big parcel, quite light, and a nice hot cup of tea. So let's get this open. Okay, almost there. Okay, and there's lots of packaging. Delve down into the bottom where I can see I've got a package in bubble wrap. Let's see if I can show you that, just give you a hint. And this, lots and lots of swathes of bubble wrap, in fact. Okay, so Pendragon, the game of quest, romance and adventure by Greg Stafford, chivalric role-playing in Arthur's Britain. Pendragon, chivalric role-playing in Arthur's Britain. Relive the glory of King Arthur's court, uphold the chivalric ideals, fair play, courage, honesty and justice as your valiant knight character undertakes perilous quests and risks monstrous dangers in legendary Britain. He'll smite bloodthirsty giants and crush treacherous invaders for King Arthur and his own glory. To play the Pendragon role-playing game, you create and take on the role of a squire, knight or noble of the realm, armed and armoured. You overcome life and death struggles, impossible frustration, and ruthless enemies to join the fellowship of the Round Table. The Game Master leads the other players in interpreting the Pendragon rules and is central in bringing the adventures to life. He commands the magic of Merlin and Morgan Le Fay, the actions of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, and the schemes of Mordred and Agravain. Game features: role-playing, innovative game mechanics awaken passionate love, hate, loyalty in your characters, leading them to acts of mercy, cruelty, lust, piety, valour and cowardice. Campaign play, customs, manners and weapons change during the phases of Arthur's long reign. Over these years, your character knight begets a family whose reputation depends upon the glory he achieves. He passes his hard-won inheritance and grudges to his sons. Up to 4 generations of knights will live and die during Arthur's reign. Game system, easily remembered, simple to play mechanics, features a single die roll to determine combat, settle personality encounters, and to resolve skill use. Character generation, create a squire, knight, noble or fair damsel of Roman, Saxon, Cymric, Pictish or Irish heritage, select between the Christian, Botanic or pagan religions. Background includes a 22-inch by 34-inch map of Britain, complete with kingdoms, cities, castles, keeps, forest, Roman roads, abbeys, rivers, mountains, fortified walls and battle sites. A bestiary of natural and mythical creatures. It includes Vanks, Barquest, Dwarves, Elves, Giants, Kelpies, Spriggans, Unicorns, Yells, and the questing beast, among many others. You're provided with characteristics for major personalities such as Arthur, Guinevere and Lancelot. Also enclosed are lesser known such as Balin le Sauvage, Bruce Sans Piti, Saint Cadoc, King Mark, Nimue, Percival and Orpheus. Chronology includes wars, adventures, customs, campaign, escalation and characters in note. An extensive bibliography provides further sources of information or to support campaign play. That's a lot of blurb. Let's have a look, see what's inside. Oh, there was a reason why the book looked a whole lot more massive than I thought. It shouldn't be like that. It's actually got, yes, more bubble wrap. So let's see what I've got on here. So that shouldn't be in there, but it came extra. Not to worry, that's fine. And similarly, okay, and I'll come back to these later on. So we've got, first off, we have contents sheet and play aid. So we've got a list of credits, and open up. We have basically King Arthur Pendragon, unfortunately sold out, and the Pendragon campaign, and battle sequence and combat notes, and a table of all the winter events. So that's on the one page. We have the map. Just of the map. A large map. And that's set up. No, it's not upside down. So there we go. I can't. So basically all of essentially Britain at the time, and primarily you'll be sort of centred on the classic campaign. Settled down here in Salisbury, sort of down there. That's where basically will be squires for Duke Roderick. I can't remember his name. Is it Roderick? Robert? Something like that. Then we have the characters, and this is here we've got stats for Agravain, Arthur the Squire, Arthur himself, and so on, all the way through. So this is the sheet of basic NPCs. Interesting that this is okay. This isn't mint, okay. If I have a look, the box itself, a little bit damaged there, but it's minor, okay. So the great thing about this is that it's near mint. It's lovely condition. And the thing is, I paid a whole lot less than was paid for a mint condition, shrink wrapped at Chaosium Con this past month. As you can see, this is a lovely condition. Doesn't have the dice. I'm not too bothered about that. So essentially, what you get in here is player's book, game master's book, major character statistics book, character generation, players, colour map of King Arthur's Britain, character sheets, and dice. Missing the dice, I don't mind. I don't mind about that. But let's have a look at the player's book. And you have a complete content list there on the front. And this, let me see, we get into background and introduction, and it's fairly quite dense. There's a lot of information here, and this is introducing the setting. You've got quite a heavy table of contents there for what is a relatively slim book, 80 pages. This is saying background and period feudalism and Arthur's Britain and Europe. And you think at the time this is sort of like a 550 AD, the Dark Ages, and it really wouldn't have been anything like this. This is very much a role-playing game of high romance, of feudalism, which would have come much later in history. But again, it's the romance of the Arthurian legend more than anything else. We've got the major kingdoms of Britain as well on a simple map. Before we get on to, well, basically this is all part of character generation, and you've got a homeland table. Now later editions would take this in further directions. So 4th edition would have an extended table for this because you could have knights from Europe. 5th edition is concentrated really on you playing Cymric knights who are Christians. Straightforward setup and simple as that. So we've got a breakdown of the cultural groupings there in the land and a list of the names. And then we get on to things such as passions and personality traits. Now here's, let me show you with I can show you what I've got. Great thing about this, because I can show you on the character sheets here. This is where Pendragon is innovative, because you have these personality traits here. So they're paired. You've got chaste and lustful, energetic, lazy, and so on, all the way down. And they have a value between 1 and 20, but the pairs have to equal the total of 20. And when you role play, the game master might say, I want you to check your energetic, whether you know, essentially, okay, so essentially you might well go, okay, you had a heavy night of drinking, are you going to get up in the morning and go and do this hunt you said you would? Roll your energy, roll your lazy, okay? If you succeed at your lazy, you stay in the bed and don't go off and do the hunt, for example. And essentially it works like that. It's okay, are you chaste or lust? and the roles, the personality traits will kind of influence how you roleplay. And sometimes it would mean landing your character in situations where you might not roleplay them into. Okay, the mechanics not only enforce your personality because you assign those points at the start, and they can improve and change depending upon your actions. So, for example, if you made that in that lazy role, you later on would have a check to see whether you would improve your lazy trait, which means your energetic trait would go down. So you can grow and change over the years, and your personality can change, and it models that, and your personality can influence how you act, which is exactly how you want it. And it's not always down to player decision, but that's fine, okay? Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes the player characters act against, and even the characters in fiction act against their best interests. But you've got marked the notable chivalric values, traits. So energetic, generous, just, merciful, modest, and valorous. Okay, are all marked, and they're the chivalric traits, and you get bonuses to your glory, which is the equivalent of your essentially experience points in the game, and you'll gain them for doing great deeds, great battles, being a good knight. So yeah, you literally these are central to the game, and they really help you role play your character. So what else have we got in here? And arguably, the whole point about them is really that they're the first role-play mechanic. You think role-playing started in 1974 with Dungeons & Dragons. Those traits are arguably the first role-playing mechanics. Okay, designed to help you role-play, and then literally almost force you, or if not force, then push you to role-play. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's really good. And then we get into let's have a look. You're basically creating up your character, and it's doing things like determining your socials, your father's social caste, because that class that will affect your beginning glory, and then you will get a bonus for being a good knight of a particular religion. So Christians will get a +3 to natural armor. Pagans +2 to healing rate, Wotanic +3 to damage done. And Wotanic knights tend to be Saxons, who are mostly despised because they are the invading force. It's almost so basic, all plain and simple character creation, applying skills, and then we have heraldry, and you're kind of encouraged to draw your own heraldic device by which you'll be recognised and will be passed down to your children, because you are encouraged to the whole point of the game is that you are encouraged to take a wife and beget children, hopefully sons, and then you do have essentially events that happen from one play type year to the next, and you get involved in those, and you'll earn glory, but you'll gain glory from the events that your grandfather was involved in. And there's some advice in here for female characters and fighting women, because obviously, typically in the fiction there aren't a lot of fighting women, but there's nothing to stop you having them in your game of Pendragon. Nothing at all. So we have 4 rules for women character generation, whether they are good wives or otherwise, and they can play a role as well. And you have a fantastic illustration of Mordred. The artwork is fantastic in this book. I really do love it. It's a lot of this artwork which is still being included in the most recent version. And then we have sort of like events you can get involved in with, like tournaments or hunts or courtly romances and things like that. And it takes you through, basically the process of being squire, then being a household knights and landed or bachelor knights, all the way up to actually being a member of the Round Table when you've accrued enough glory and enough reputation, and then you can gain office and greater responsibilities. Here we have illustrations of various castles. We've got Mott and Bailey one, and a more kind of standard type of castle. because very much essentially Britain at the time, or essentially the Britain of the Arthurian legend, is a land of castles. Because when the legends were being written down and recorded, it was a land of castles. We have lots and lots of castles. A lot of them have been essentially sundered, due to historical events such as the English Civil War. For example, Corfe Castle in Dorset, one of the few actual stone, basically fortification stone castles down towards on the Isle of Purbeck, is it's not actually an isle, but it's called the Isle of Purbeck. To actually have a great fortification, great castle, but it was besieged during the English Civil War, and captured by the parliamentary forces, and essentially destroyed to prevent it being taken again. So castles that do exist are great buildings and really interesting places. So I'll also point out that we also have an incredible record of history of hill forts, Iron Age hill forts, which are amazing as well. So here we delve into passions, which are another thing that can influence a player character. So it might be love of family, love of lord, loyalty to his lord, or hatred of Saxons, and he can roll that and test it, and that can provide a benefit, or even drive him mad if he gets it wrong. And there are lots of to his next rolls. So if he he's riding against battling against a Saxon foe, then he might invoke his hatred of Saxons, gain a bonus to his sword roll, his battle rolls, essentially, and so be a better warrior. So here again we have an example basically of how they work. We have basically drawn from the source, such as Tristan, but King Mark gets a hate of Tristan, and a full example there of how that works. Okay, so full list of skills. Then we get into combat, and this includes we'll go up to full combat with battles and so on. And they're really quite deadly. And for the most part, what you're doing in combat is you're making opposed rolls, and whoever rolls better inflicts damage on the other. So we've got a basic explanation of how that works, and then a full example of play. Always useful. Always do like a full example. And it does the same thing for tournaments. And we go up to big battles as well, because battles take place across the whole the length and breadth of Britain, and also later on in Europe. And then we get into Knights War, generally sort of price lists and stuff like that, because not necessarily particularly important in terms of role playing, but it's actually more a case of your player knights do sort of like a certain household and a standard to maintain, including the upkeep of their family. So we've got a section of family there. Almost dropped that. If you want to do that, marriage and the family generation table, because the game is really played in 2 phases each year. One of them is the adventuring phase. You go off and have the adventure. You might go on a quest, or go off and have a battle to face against the invading Picts or something. And then you have a winter phase where you will reflect upon the previous year. You will do your household management tasks. Your children will get older. You might have more children. They might die, and so on. You have a look, and you're basically recording the events of your life and genealogy as it grows and changes over the course of years. And this can be really over the course of years if you get into playing something like the Great Pendragon campaign, because that's years and years of gameplay, and it literally sort of 80 odd years of gameplay. If you're covering the complete period before the reign of Arthur, Uther, the fall of Uther, through the interregnum and beyond. So the Game Master's book really let's have a look. Is essentially got a quick. Is quite slim. You've got a guide to running the game there, and extra content like the 13 Treasures of Britain. Before we go on to, we've got quite a short bestiary, all the way up to the Quest of the Beast. Again, great artwork in here, just sort of like, you know, it's really fantastically well drawn. This is all by Lisa A. Free, just really good. And then we have a description of the plot, essentially the overarching plot of the Arthur Pendragon campaign. So we have Phase 1, the Anarchy, which is 495 to 510. Unification under Arthur, 510, 525. And Phase 3, Consolidation, Apogee, all the way through to the downfall of Arthur. So we are covering sort of like from there, 495 all the way through to 570, so 75 years, when King Arthur is defeated, is killed in battle. Then we've got bibliography, and then we have short adventure, which is the Beast Quest. Okay, it's not the hunt which people will remember from later editions of the game. This is sort of tied into the Great Pendragon campaign, which is one of the great role-playing campaigns. So, yeah, what can I say? I am very pleased with that. This is a very nice edition, very nice copy of Arthur Pendragon. Doesn't have the dice. I don't care. This is a lovely looking set. I'm very pleased to have acquired this, which, along with the Nobles book, which is one of the first supplements, and a later supplement, because you can tell from the change in format. This is early 80s to well, let's have a look. This is I've got a date on it. Which is going to find, this is 1990, so yeah, this is very much the period of sort of like basically early 90s and of sort of Lovecraft Country books for Call of Cthulhu. Completely off the subject, but again, and this one is a bit late. This is 1986. But anyway, Pendragon chivalric role playing in Arthur's Britain. If you've never had a chance to play this, you absolutely should. It is, well, 1985. It will be 40 years old in 3 years' time. This is still incredibly playable, still a great role-playing game. Really encourages you to role-play. And if you're thinking about, you ever thought about, okay, games of that age just don't stand up today, you're wrong. This one still does. This is a pure, proper role-playing game that encourages you, pushes you to role play with really clever, elegant mechanics. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing of the Nook. I have. Really nice to have a look at this again. If you have, please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any questions or queries, please do post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box and a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, and hopefully almost as good as this, because nothing comes better than this. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing of the Nook, but it will sure as hell won't be as good as this. Bye for now.